Hey friends, welcome to my channel. It's Day Fittings. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you are new to this space, hello and welcome. So here on this space, I make sewing tutorials. I make sewing very easy. Yes. So today we're going to be making this beautiful dress you see on your screen. It's a button-down A-shaped dress with an opening at the waist and then side slits. So if this is your style, you want to keep watching. Okay, so now I'm going to draft the front pattern, and to do that, I always draw out a line, and that line is going to serve as my start point. So now I'm going to take my shoulder measurement, and my shoulder is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. Then I'm going to also take my neck measurement. So I'm taking 2.5 by 2.5. You can decide to take 3 by 3, but I prefer to use 2.5. So I'm going to take my vertical measurement. I'm taking my bust point, which is 10, my under bust, which is 13, and then my half length is 16, but I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches, so that will make it 17.5. So I'm just going to rule an horizontal line across. So the next thing I'll be doing is to get our shoulder slope, and to do that I'll be coming down by 1 inch from my shoulder measurement, and then I'll connect that 1 inch to my neck measurement. And then I'm going to get my chest line, and that is 8 inches. I'm going to be taking that from my shoulder slope. I'm just going to rule an horizontal line across. So I'm just getting my shoulder measurement at that point so that I can get a straight line while I'm connecting it. So the next thing I want to do is to get my armhole curve, and to do that I'm going to be dividing my bust measurement into 4, which is 9. So I'm going to get 9. I'm going to mark 9 there, and I'm going to divide the straight line you see down there. I'm going to divide it by 2, and then I'm just coming in by half an inch, and then I'll connect all the 3 points: the shoulder, so half an inch I came in on that line, and then my bust point. So we've gotten our armhole curve, and then we're just going to curve out our neck measurement. So the next thing we'll be doing is getting our body's measurement, and I'll start with my bust. Like I said, my bust divided by 4 is 9. I'm going to add 2 inch sewing allowance. So I won't be taking my under bust measurement. I don't really need it, just labeling it out for you to see. So I'm just going to go straight to my waist, and my waist divided by 4 is 7 inches, and then I'll be adding 3 extra inches. Now the reason I'm adding 3 inches is because we're going to be adding an elastic band at that waist area, and we want it to like gather a bit. That is why I'm adding that much allowance. So now I'm just going to connect it to my bust point. Now you can decide to just rule a straight line down from your bust point. It is still very okay, but I just want to curve it. I want it to have that small curve. So with that, we've come to the end of our front panel. But before I cut, I will be coming down by 1 inch at my shoulder part, because I'll be adding it back to the back panel because I want it to really rest well on my shoulder. So I'll normally come down by 1 inch, but I'm taking half an inch. The reason I'm taking half an inch is because if I take 1 inch, I'm still going to add half an inch when I'm cutting it on my fabric. So I'm just doing it straightforward, maybe just half an inch. So when I'm cutting it on my fabric, I don't need to add any joining allowance because I took just half an inch. So with that, we are done drafting our front panel, and I'm just going to cut it out. Okay, so now we are going to draft our back pattern, and I'm just coming down by 3 inches, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that. So that would be my start point. And as we did, like we did at the front, I'm going to take my shoulder measurement, and then I'm going to take my shoulder slope, coming down by 1 inch as my shoulder slope, and then I'm taking 2.5 inch at the shoulder point, and I'm coming down by just 1 inch, not 2.5 like I did at the front, just one. And so now I'm just going to connect my shoulder slope to my neck area, and then I'm going to take my vertical measurement like I did, 10 inches for my bust point, 13 inches for my under bust, and then 17.5 as the length of the blouse. And I'm just going to roll my horizontal lines across. Okay, so now I'm going to get my chest line, and that is 8 inches from the shoulder slope. Like I did for the other side, I'm just getting my shoulder measurement so that I can get a straight line. So I'm going to rule out my chest line and then connect it to the shoulder. So now I'm going to take out my bust measurement. And then I'll rule out my armhole curve. So now I'm going to add 2 inches to my, okay, like we did for the front, I moved 1 inch for the front. So now I'm going to add back that 1 inch and then half an inch joining allowance. You can decide to just add 1 inch and then add your joining allowance when cutting on your fabric, but I'm just joining everything. I'm just adding everything together. That is 1.5 inch at the back. So by the time you attach it to the front, it's really going to rest well on the shoulder. And if you are used to cutting out shirts or making shirts, this should not be new to you. Okay, so now I'm going to take out my bust measurement and add 2 inches like I did at the front, and then also my waist measurement, and then add 3 inches and just connect it. So with this, we have come to the end of drafting our back pattern, and I'm just going to cut it out. So this is our back pattern, and this is our front pattern. So now we're going to draft out our sleeve pattern, and I'm just ruling out my start point. Please ignore those lines that you see there. They are not to be used. Just look at what I'm doing. So I'm taking 3.5 as my shoulder slope, as my armhole slope, and then I'm taking 8 inches as my chest line, and then I'm taking my full length as 26 inches. Just cancelling those lines so you do not mistake it with what I'm doing, and I'm just ruling an horizontal lines on the points that I will be using. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my chest line measurement, which is 8, and I'm adding 3 inches to it. Okay, so why I'm adding 3 inches is because I added 2 inches on my basic bodice block, but I decided to add extra 1 inches, and I'm going to be doing that when I am cutting on the fabric because I want the bust point to be very free. So that's why I'm adding 3 inches on my sleeve. I'm going to put an extra 1 inch when I'm cutting it, when I'm cutting my basic block on my fabric. So now I'm just pulling a line across, and then I'm getting the midpoint so that I can get my curve on the sleeve. And I'm not really going to take any other measurement. I just want to take it straight down because I want the sleeve to be very free. I want it to be free. I'm just going to give it a slant, a slight slant there, yeah. And then I'll just roll it straight down, yeah. At the bottom, I'm going to be adding an elastic at the bottom, so that's why I really want it to be very free. So I'm just going to cut out my sleeve, and with that we're just going to add an elastic there, so it will have a form of gathers at that point. So with that, I'm done with the pattern drafting. Let's get into the fabric cutting. So now I'll be using this fabric. It's a pattern fabric and it does not really stretch that much. It just bounces and it's light. It drops very well. It's a lightweight fabric. It's very easy to work with. So now I'm just going to fold it so that I can cut out the down part of my gown. So the full length of my gown is 37 plus 1 inch, that is 38 for my hemming allowance, and that's my starting point, which is serve as my waist measurement, and then I'm just taking 10 inches down as my hip measurement. Okay, so my waist divided by 4 is 7 inches plus the 3 inches like I did on the basic bodice block. Now I keep saying my. I'm actually making this for my sister and we use the same measurement. So that's why I keep saying my, but it's not actually mine, it's my sister's gown. So since I'm using my measurement, I'll continue saying my. Okay. So now at the bottom part, I am going to be taking my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 6 inches. That is what I did there. My hip divided by 4 is 9.7 plus 6 inches. So now I'm just going to connect it from my waist down to the hem of the gown. Now notice I was touching the hip line. I won't really be using my hip measurement because I'm just going to slant from the waist down to the hemline. It's not really going to touch the hip, maybe like an inch difference, but we really don't need our hip measurement. We just need our hem measurement and then the waist measurement. And I'm just going to rule a line to connect the hem to the waist. And I'm just going to cut this out quickly. Okay, so now that is for the back, and I'm going to use the back to cut out the front. We are doing both. We are using the same pattern for the front and then the back. There is no zip. We're just using elastic at the waist. So now I've gone ahead to cut out 2 pieces and I'm going to separate them. This is the front and I'm just going to open the middle. I'm just going to open the middle because we're going to insert we're going to be using button at that middle. Okay, so now that is done, we're going to be cutting our pattern on our fabric for our bodice. Okay, so now this is the back. I'll be cutting at the back, and like I said, I will be adding an extra 1 inch allowance to the bodice because I really want that part to be a bit free. I don't want it to really hug the body, so I want it to be free. So I'm just going to cut it like this, and if you notice, I added half an inch allowance to the waist also, just a little. So this is the back, and now I'm going to cut out the front. So like I did at the back, I'm going to be adding 1 inch sewing allowance and then just half an inch at the waist side and just connect it and cut it out. Now at the back, we cut the back on fold. The front will not be on fold. There will be an opening at the middle part. Like I said, we're going to be attaching a button, so we need it to be open. So now we're going to cut out our sleeves and then just notch the middle so that when we are joining it, it will be easy. Okay, so now I'm going to cut out the piece for my button, and I'm just taking out 3.5 inches on my fabric, and I'm going to cut it out. And we really want this piece to be very long since it's a long gown, so we really want it to be very long. And I just want you to watch how I'll be folding it before attaching it to the bodice. I'm going to fold both hands by half an inch, press it down, and then fold it into two equal halves like you see me do. That is how we're going to get our button piece, or should I say the piece where we're going to attach our buttons. And I'm going to be cutting two of that, one for the right and the other for the left. And then I'm going to also cut out our band. I already did the cutting, it's still 3.5. But this one, you're just going to fold it into two and press it down. That is how we get the band that we're going to insert our elastic through. And we're going to be using a 1-inch elastic. So we're going to be cutting two pieces of this, one for the top side and one for the down side of the gown. That is the blouse and the skirt that we're going to join together to make a gown. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this and press it, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I am done. Okay, so now I am done pressing it, and this is how it looks like. Please press it. Do not just sew it like that. Make sure you iron it well, like you pressed it down with your steam iron. It will make the sewing very easy for you. So this is where we're going to use as our button, and then this is where we are going to use as our band that will be inserting our elastic. So like I said, I made two pieces of each. For the button, I made two pieces for the right and the left, and then for the band, I made two pieces for the top and the bottom. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you how I'll be joining it, because I'll take it to my sewing machine, and I'm not sure I'm going to be recording that. Okay, so now this is the back of my skirt. Let's call it a skirt for now. And this is the front. I'm just going to be attaching it to the back, right sides facing each other. Just trying to place it on it. Okay, so this is how you should place your fabric when you're sewing. So you're going to sew it. We're going to sew both sides, but we're not going to sew the middle part. The middle is meant to be open. Now while sewing, I'm just going to stop at this point here. I'm going to sew my normal stitch till that point there, and I'm going to like tack it and then continue down with a very loose stitch, because I need that part to be a slit. So I'll sew to that point with a tight stitch and then downwards with a loose stitch, and then I'm just going to press it down with my iron and then put an hemming gum there so that it can, stick to the fabric well. And I'll be doing that for both sides. So now I'm just taking out the measurement, the length I want my slit to start from. I'm taking out 17. I want my slit to be very high. Now you can make it higher or you can make it, lesser. It depends on you. So I'm just taking 17 on both sides. So when I'm sewing, I will know where to stop. And just take a loose stitch downwards so that it will be very easy for you to, open it. And then for the top side, that is my back piece, I'm just going to place the front part on it, right side facing each other, and then attach my shoulder part like this, and then also attach my sleeves, and then join both sides together. The middle we are not sewing. So now I'll take this to my sewing machine and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have joined my down pieces together. You can see how it is open but the sides are closed. So what I am going to do now, you can see how I tacked that part down, and then I just ran a loose stitch down to the bottom. So now I'm just going to open it like this, and then open my seam allowance, or my joining part. I'm just going to open it, and then I'm going to press it down with my iron, and then I'm also going to put an hemming gum so that it can stick down to the fabric by the time I open it up. The sleeve. And then for the waist area, I'm going to be attaching the band I cut out initially. I'm just going to be attaching it like this on the right side. Just going to be placing it like this. I'll attach it and then just weave out my joining allowance. And I'll be doing the same for the top, or should I say the blouse side. Just going to attach the band to it, and then I'll be weaving out the rough edges with my overlocking machine, and then I will pass my elastic band through it. So that is how you're going to place it. Place it on the right side, please. Place it on the right side of the top, and then just sew it down. You overlock it, and then you pass your elastic band. Now this elastic band, the way I did it is the waist, my waist measurement minus 6 inches. Yes, I didn't take the exact waist measurement. I just took my waist measurement and I removed 6 inches, and that was how I got my elastic band. So I have done that. I have joined the band together, and then I also passed the elastic through it, so you can see how bouncy it is, and that small gathers effect it has on both the blouse and the skirt part. Now it's time to make it into a gown, and I'm just showing you how to place it. So you might want to, pay close attention to this part. Just arranging it on the right part, and also the skirt part, I'm also arranging it. So now I'm going to take my my button piece, or should I say my button band. I'm just going to take this piece here like this, and I've already opened it, but I'm not going to open the half inches I ironed down. Just watch what I am doing. So I'll open it up and then place my blouse on it with half an inch. I'm just going to place my blouse on that half inch I folded in, and then I'm going to cover it up with the other side. So I'll take it again. I opened it, place my blouse on it half an inch, and then just cover it with the other side, and I'm going to run. I'm not going to sew on it straight down. Now when you get to that waist area, please pay close attention. You want to push the gathers effect it has on the material. You want to push it back a bit, and then place it like you did initially. As you're sewing it down, when you get to that part, you just push your gathers a bit so that that place can be flat, and then you place it in between the the bottom band, just say the bottom band or the bottom piece. And then while you're sewing, when you're almost close to the end of the top, or should I say the blouse, you will insert the bottom part like this, like you see me doing. Now do not put it over the blouse. No, do not put it over the blouse. Don't do that. Do not put it too far from the blouse. Don't do that. Place it directly beneath where the blouse stops. Where the blouse stops, that is where you're going to be, attaching the skirt part, and then you just keep running your stitch down to the bottom. Now I'm done doing that for both the right and the left side, and this is how it's looking. I even went ahead to sew an additional stitch. I ran an additional stitch at that band area so that it's going to, rest well and it's not going to stand. I did the same thing for both right and the left. And that is how our blouse is looking. Sorry, our gown is looking. So now what I'm going to do next is just to open my slit at the side. Remember I said you should run a loose stitch. So by the time you want to open it, it will be very easy. I'm going to open up my slit, and then I'm going to hem that part. You want to open up your slit to the place you really tacked, to where you started sewing your loose stitches. You want to open it up to that part. Now after doing that, we are going straight to get our collar. And to do that, okay, so this is how our slit is looking. Very neat. You see how it's looking at that part where I added the hemming gum. It's very neat. So you want to do exactly what I did there. So now to the collar part, we're just going to place our tape from one end of our blouse to the other, and I got about 19.2 inches. You want to do that slowly so that you can get your exact neck measurement, and I got 19.2 inches. So now I'm going to use that measurement to cut out our collar. So to get our collar, we're just going to get our fabric like this and fold it into, make sure there is enough space, and then go ahead to fold it into 4, like you see me doing. Fold it into and then into 4. So that way you don't have to do plenty joining and joining. No, this is very easy and straightforward. So now I'm just going to take out what I got from the neck measurement. I got 19.2, so I'm just going to divide it into 2, and whatever I get is what I'm going to put on my fabric. Sorry, I do not know it was out of the camera. So I'm taking 3 inches downwards. That is the size, should I say, yes, the size of my collar. The wideness I need is 3 inches, or 3.5 inches. I took 3.5 inches, and then I'm just going to rule a straight line down, and then from that part I got what's it called, my neck measurement divided by 2. At the top part, the folded place, I went out by 3 inches. I went out by 3 inches at the top side, like you see me do. I went out by 3 inches. That is outside the normal measurement I got after folding it into 2. I got 3 inches. So I'm just going to connect it to that down part, like you see me do. And then just curve it down a bit to just, so it won't be straight, it will have this curve our neck is not our neck is not straight. It has a bit of curve. So yeah, I noticed it wasn't showing on the camera, so I had to like adjust it so that you can see what I did there. So when cutting this part, it's on fold because it is the back part. That's the part that's going to be on your back. So it's on fold. So my neck measurement divided by 2, and then I added 3 inches at the top area. That folded part at the top, I added 3 inches, and I just connected it to my 3.5 inches I took initially as the length of the collar. So I just cut it out, and this is what the collar looks like. I'm really sorry if I'm rushing. I feel like I'm rushing. Okay, so now we're just going to add paper stay to this. You can decide to use stay, but I'm using paper stay to just give it a little bit of weight. Paper stay or stay is perfect. So now this is how it looks like. So I'm just going to join it at both ends. I'll take it to the machine and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So I joined it at both ends and I flipped it over and pressed it, and even went ahead and folded one side of the collar inside by 1/2 inch and also pressed it. That way, when you're attaching it to your cloth or to your dress or your shirt, it is very easy. Now to attach it to the dress, the part that I didn't fold, we are going to be attaching that part. You're going to be placing that part I didn't fold on the left part of your gown, on the left part of your dress. That is where you're going to be attaching it, the left part, and then sew it to the end. And when you've gotten to the end, you turn it to the right part of your dress, and then just flip it over. I just hope you see what I am doing. And then put it inside the collar, and so that part you folded will be the part that will be facing the right side of your dress. I'll take it to my machine and attach the first part so you can understand what I did there. So I've gone ahead to attach the part I didn't iron, the part I didn't press. Sorry, I have a bit of cold, so it's affecting my voice. So to the part I didn't iron, I attached it to the left part, and then I went ahead to flip it inside so that I can sew the part I folded on the right part. Just know that the part that you folded in initially, that you pressed in initially, is going to be on the right part. So now I have done that, and we have come to the end of making this beautiful dress. We're just going to attach our buttons. Now when attaching your buttons, you want to attach a buttonhole on both the top and the down part of the gown, where the elastic is, where your band is. Yes, you want to attach a buttonhole there, and then you can go ahead and be attaching your buttonholes by 3 inches. That is if you want to do 3 inches or 4 inches. So this is the outcome of the dress. So if you enjoyed this tutorial and you've learned something, kindly click on the subscribe bell and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, leave it down below in the comment section and I will respond to every one of your questions. So till next time, bye bye, and I love you all.